15 we've allowed, but Ronnie did his in less than 15.
Okay.
Ready for action?
All yours. Fantastic.
Charlie, so here we are about to do an exhibition next year, and this is a band who hasn't typically looked backwards. Ironic that you should be doing this, so why are you doing the exhibition, and why now?
I think because it's getting near a time to do it. It's 50 years. Well, it's more now. We got an awful lot of stuff, and it was offered to us, and the choice of the, what do you call it, venue or whatever they call it in the exhibition world, is a good one actually. Very beautiful. Very much to my surprise.
So the Saatchi Gallery, ironically, is on the King's Road, just round the corner from where
Very strange, because it's a very sophisticated space, as we call it in architecture. But and I've never seen it really, except when I went there to think where we've had many a fun moment on the King's Road. You mean?
Yeah. So how was that all those times ago? And you remember that era and that period, and how ironic is it that you're coming back to do your life story 50 years later?
I think it's very well chosen. The first time I played, no it isn't. Okay, the first time I played with the Rolling Stones with Bill Wyman, I think this is right, it was in the King's Road, World's End, Edith Grove. I used to stay with Mick and Keith and Brian there in Edith Grove, and the King's Road is sort of synonymous with that group, that revolution, as they call it, in downgrading men's clothing. Although I wasn't much of a sing-along there, it still is. I'm in the King's Road a lot in London. It's very much part of where we live. I mean, Mick's near there. I don't know why it should be that. You'd think it'd be, I don't know, Pall Mall or Mayfair for me, German Street, but it's not, it's the King's Road. It's quite lively, it's a bit of a high street now. In those days it was a bit different. Anyway.
In all the projects... Sorry.
Okay, you can cut all this up, can't you? If I ramble, it's a bit difficult.
Okay.
Yep.
In all the projects that the Rolling Stones do, whether it's stage sets or album designs or websites, you're always very involved, and particularly you and Mick. How involved are you and all of the band in the exhibition, the curation of it, what you choose, etc., etc.?
I think it's me and Mick again, to be honest. And I think it's very important that we get it right. It's quite... If we're going to give Mick something to worry about, that will be it. It should be right. And unfortunately, it's not like an album cover or anything that you can put, you can get a guy to mock it up, or you can put it on your computer screen and see it and go, no, it should be red. You're dealing with, I don't know, is it 8 spaces or whatever? Rooms, large. So if one's wrong, it's quite a thing to, so we kind of, along with you, Patrick, have got to get it right, haven't we, really? I don't mean dead right, but quite near. We don't have a lot of room for saying, no, I want it rounder. So in come the carpenters, it's a bit more difficult than that.
And somehow you have to fit 50 years, 5 decades of stuff in there. What can we expect? How might the exhibition be seen by the public?
Well, I hope it'll be 5 things leading on to now,
Why don't you say something about the fact that, that we're actually dividing it up into galleries? In other words, we've got different, there's the recording, there's the live, there's the style of this. So if I ask that question again, what sort of form might the exhibition take, and how can you choose what goes in this thing and what you leave out? An impossible task.
It's pretty impossible, but we're going to divide it into various sections. beginning, the live stuff, studio, design, merchandise. I mean, it's quite a lot to get in there, even though it's a huge space and all that, but to get it all in there, and you're bound to miss something out.
What about things that you've kept yourself? Have you
Me?
kept stuff from childhood? Are you a hoarder, Charlie?
I'm very much, I'm a collector. No, not of Rolling Stones, rock and roll stuff, no. My collections are mainly jazz, to be honest with you. Blooming jazz, as my wife calls it. Yes, so they're all, I mean, I've got more Louis Armstrong stuff than I have Rolling Stones.
What about stuff from your childhood, you know, photographs and stuff?
No, I
that
don't
you
have
had?
any photographs. Sherry's got one in the office of when I was 12 or something, playing. No, I don't have any. I think my sister's got those things. And I don't really have anything like that. I have lots of clothes that I still wear from 30 odd years ago, but I don't have many from my childhood or many things. I have all my record collection, so which is a jazz sort of orientated thing. So I have all that, and adding to, and most, I'm trying to think, drums I have obviously.
Clothes, obviously, important part of your life, an important part of the stage clothes, maybe not so much for you.
Well, I'm limited in, well, I'm not limited. You know, the days of playing in a suit are over, and it's also bloody uncomfortable. And so, you know, and you're sitting down, and I don't really have time to change a shirt or anything, if you might have noticed. I mean, there's hardly any time to do anything up there. In fact, it's quite a struggle to get the top off a bottle of water before the count for the next one. So it's it limits your costume, I suppose you'd call it. But fortunately, the band themselves, the rest of them, have kept up with things. And Mick particularly has incredible stage costumes.
Well, the stuff that you used to wear off stage, and I'm thinking particularly that earlier time, you know, when you had this kind of anti-hero image, and how contrived was that? Was that just a natural progression of your lives and your success, or was that something that you thought about?
I think that was Andrew dreamt up. You think, well, I don't know. Maybe I've always been a stroppy, angry young man, but no, it's never been something. And I've always dressed like I used to when I went to see Georgie Fame when I was 16, which is a 3-button suit, smaller, you know. I was without the bouffant haircut, I was an early mod. You know, I mean, I used to listen to modern jazz. I'd go to clubs and hear that. I was never, you know, anything. I mean, Keith really played Elvis properly for me, and I was never into Elvis or anything. I remember Fats Domino was probably my first, and Little Richard were my first love when I was about 15 in that area, but other than that, it's been Duke Ellington.
Here's a funny question. You're about to help curate an exhibition of your own life and work. If you had a chance to curate an exhibition about somebody else, it can be anybody, a musician or a dancer or a singer or an artist, who might you choose to do that with?
Well, I'd have to say Duke Ellington, because I have quite a few things relating to him, or his band. And it would be Fred Astaire, just if I could possibly have some of those things, just for the love of doing that. And God, I don't know. I suppose Diaghilev, because I always loved. I think he's the most amazing man of the late 20th century. An incredible man, I think. And all that world, you know, he had such an ear and eye for things. I think he was a special guy. It must. I mean, I've seen exhibitions of him, you know, but there isn't a great deal as usual. Anyway, next.
And finally, some people might say about this exhibition. Some people will say about this exhibition. Oh, that's it. Sign that it's all over. Stones are finishing. About to leave the building. You might have a view on that.
Well, I can understand it, and for the past few years, I've always felt, well, if we get through this bit, we'll do the next bit, and I'm like that now. You know, we're about 3-4 shows in or something. Actually, 2. This is the second big one, and we've done 2 little things. So, you know, if this is the end of it, I hope it just ends. You know, I would hate it to be one big row or something, and it'd be lovely way if it was, but I have a feeling it won't be. I don't think we're gonna, you know, I mean, I don't see why we should stop if you know, I think these long tours are gonna end. I think this will be the longest thing we do for a long while after South America. I don't see us doing more, but it's putting the time aside for it and everything. And it interferes so much with when you sort of say, oh, I'll see you on whatever. You know, you haven't got the time left now. What's that girl doing standing up with her hand?
Funnily enough, she's telling us we haven't got the time left. So that was great, Charlie. All that was
Okay.
great. So what's really weird about doing
What,
this
sure.
is that if you're talking...
The Ronnie ones.
Yeah, I'm about to do it.
One
That,
more, Charlie.
that it's very difficult to not say anything when you're talking to me, because it's like
Yeah,
we're
I
just
know.
talking together and I
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
say, oh yes, yeah.
Charlie.
Okay.
It was
You
very
wanna do
good.
Ronnie?
Oh, sorry,
Thank you.
Charlie.
Don't
One more
unhook
question.
yourself,
Sorry.
Don't unhook
I
yourself.
thought you'd done it.
Not
No,
yet.
one question about Ronnie, sorry.
How, Ronnie?
Yeah, I'll tell you.
That's below the belt, isn't it?
Yeah. It's because it's his 40th anniversary next week or tomorrow or something. Is it? When is it? June the 1st.
40th what?
Anniversary of playing with the Rolling Stones.
Is it?
Yeah. So it
Is
doesn't
it
matter if
really?
it's yeah.
It is.
Yep.
My God, he still isn't at 50, is he?
I know. Ready?
Still running.
Okay, so Charlie.
Yes.
40 years ago, Ronnie Wood stood on the stage with the Rolling Stones.
Yoy,
They
yoy,
made
yoy.
their first performance. It's now 40 years later. Tell us something funny and amusing about
It's
him.
impossible. Well, Ronnie's the same then as he was now, except he doesn't drink or take drugs, and he's exactly the same. As Keith would say, biggest waste of whatever, $30 million, whatever it cost him, you could think of. He's very, very funny and very likable man, you know. And he's very good in the band, because he's like Brian type of player. What I mean by that is he adapts and does things and fills in, and he's a very good band guy.
And also, I assume he's a friend of yours. You've known him for 40 years, big part of
Yes.
your life. He must mean something
Yeah,
to you.
I mean, yeah, he's Ronnie. Most people that meet and know Ronnie, it's Ronnie. Do you know what I mean? It's a very difficult one to sort of, I don't know, he's a clown over there, and then he's Mr. Sensible here, well, vaguely sensible. Very difficult to keep a straight face with Ronnie. Either he's doing something really stupid and he doesn't know it, or else he's doing something very funny and knows it, and they're both very funny. So it's very good on a thing like this, you know, when you're working, and he's always up. He's much better now because he doesn't drink, so he don't have this going on. But I personally have never seen him down, ever. But some of his wives have told me that he can be, but I've never ever seen him like that. But he's a very up person and very fun to be around.
Good.
And
Now you can unhook.
And we're sacking him, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yes, that's it. It's over. 40 years. Poof.
I know, I can't believe that.